10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good golly, Miss Molly. Welcome, everybody, to the show. Welcome to That 70s Rock Fan here on YouTube. We are supposedly broadcasting on Rumble, but oh, it's working. Rumble is now working, yes. So anyone over in Rumble, Vince, I know you're there keeping an eye on things, Vince. Thank you for doing that. It is actually working this time. When you postpone a show, as opposed to outright cancelling the stream, sometimes things go really bad. And last time we did, we pushed something off the Rumble side, didn't work. It appears to be working today, so we're good, and we should be going out on Twitter as well. So yeah, postponed. My apologies for postponing last week, but I had a little incident with my back, which, as you know, I'm very old and bits keep dropping off of me. And it cracked up. Still not great, but good enough to sit in the chair and do this delayed show on my road trip that I had to Montana to see Judas Priest and Sabaton. So we'll be talking a little bit about that and showing some clips, and also not just the gigs, but showing a couple of images and clips from some of the places I stopped at in Montana, which were very interesting. It's a very interesting landscape as well. So, but I must welcome my dear friend and collaborator, Imperitus. How are you, sir?
Oh, I'm doing all right. Like I said to you backstage, it's nice that the fall is starting to settle in here in the Northeast.
Yeah, so I guess all the tourists have come up from New York already to see the leaves fall.
Oh, they go further north than me. They don't bother us here. They go further up north. I know friends of mine who live further upstate.
Yeah,
hate it.
I remember the Family Guy episode on that.
Mm-hmm.
It's hordes of Manhattanites. Anyway, so it's actually here in southern Alberta. It's beautiful today. It's 24 centigrade, whatever that is in real temperature. I don't know. Davina might tell me. But I think it's the calm before the cold, not the storm, because I think it's going to get cold here soon. But it was nice. I'll take it. I'll take that nice, warm, sunny days. And it was nice and sunny and warm on the road trip to Montana there, which was nice. Because there's some
nice,
spectacular views in that landscape. And all sorts of different views. I mean, a large part of it is like plains that you could see for 50 miles or more, with the mountains and the buttes in the distance. And some of it's like the hoodoos, which we have in southern Alberta too, these shaped sandstone rocks that make these weird formations. And there's some of it was very much like reminiscent for me driving through of the high plains that you get further south in Colorado and Utah and places like that. So very, very, and dry, very dry as well. So it was kind of fun, you know. It's about 4 or 5 hours in each leg of the trip, but that wasn't too strenuous. I've been playing about with Google Earth, which I've never really used much before, but this was the yellow dot at the top is Vulcan in southern Alberta, which was my first stop. So I went to Vulcan and then ended that day in Great Falls, which is down here, and then then went to Billings for the gig, stayed there overnight, and then went to Fort Benton, stayed overnight. So you can do things like this.
It's pretty nifty.
It is. Although one thing it can't do, which is a shame, is it can't map roads and have those mapped like Google Maps. It doesn't do that. You can draw a line between two places that you've been
right.
to. which is a shame because then you could show the actual route in this this format. But still, it's nice playing about with it, and then you can zoom in on places. Well, you should be able to. Oh, that didn't work. I certainly zoomed in on it before. So all right, go to Vulcan. And now it won't do it. God damn it. There you go. Good stuff. So it's kind of a neat trip. And enough of that. Hide on the stream. So let's say hello to the troops. Everyone, thank you for joining today. And sorry again about last week. Something must have been updated in Talk Studio because it's got a YouTube thing again.
Yeah, I'm noticing that. I'm not seeing people's icons.
So Davina is here promoting Reverberation Radio, whatever that is. Should I know that? Open link in new tab. It is. Oh, well, there's sheep on it. So Reverberation Radio. Well, it's attractive. I'll give it that. Interesting. Tell us more, Davina. Is this your stuff? I don't know. Anyway. But yeah, thank you for being here, Davina, as usual. Vince, good to see you, mate. There's some chat about Wonder Woman. I think that's because Connie Nielsen's complaining there hasn't been a third movie. She obviously doesn't get the concept of making your money back.
It seems a lot of these creatives don't seem to get that.
Yeah, obviously Vince is here. Keep scrolling, keep on scrolling. David Glenn is here. Good to see you, David. Christian. Hello, Christian, my friend. You're always welcome to come on board with the stream. You have the link, my friend. Good to see you in the chat. You're probably working. Some people have to work for a living. I think you have to work for a living, don't you, Imp?
Yeah, pretty much. Thankfully, Mondays are my day off usually.
Yeah. Good. Well, I'm glad it is because that's the day we do the show. So yeah. I'm very pleased about that. 11 Alpha Sumo Orange is here. Can I have a link and hop on? Yes. So let me see what I can do there, my friend. Just let me copy that, and I'll have to do it on Twitter, Sumo. So just give me a second. It's a very complex operation, this, Sumo Orange, and no, that's fashion accessories in Australia. So I've got the wrong Sumo. You may have to set me straight, Sumo, on where to find you on Twitter. So let's get that sorted, or I could email you, whatever you need, Sumo. So Davina says, Reverberation Radio is a collection of tracks from a group of friends. Many of the songs are from the 70s, and there's a strong chill-out theme. Well, I'll definitely be checking that out. Thank you. Thank you very much indeed, Davina, for linking that. Sumo money, sumo problems, says Davina. Forgive me, Sumo, if I'm supposed to have your link already. I'm not finding you on Twitter, although we've probably messaged each other several times in the past. Members. There we go. View all people. This is very exciting for the audience. Very exciting. Where are you, Sumo? Sumo, I am looking for you. I promise. I just can't find you. No, not to worry. Okay, got you, mate. There we go. Thanks. I knew we'd been talking to each other before. I just couldn't find you for some reason. Sent that to you. Anyway, yeah, so I'm going to talk a bit about the gigs for sure, but I wanted to just start off with the first place I stopped at in southern Alberta for a quick pit stop on the way there was actually Vulcan, the aforementioned Vulcan, town of Vulcan in southern Alberta, which obviously exploits its name by having a lot of Star Trek related stuff. They used to have a Star Trek museum. They still have a visitor center, and they have a little Star Trek celebration every year there. They used to have a museum, which I'd actually been in, but I've been in it when it moved to Drumheller in Alberta. And then I think it actually closed during COVID. But Vulcan has this, it exploits its name, which was there long before the television, long before Star Trek. But they got a lot of spacey, Star Trek-y themed things. So that's the town, the visitor center. Unfortunately, it was closed for the season. But you can see what it looks like inside. Just peering through the window. They've got a holodeck. Various other Star Trek related stuff going on. There are photographs up of Leonard Nimoy there. Oops, went too far. But also this little video clip I took. Okay, stop number 1 on my road trip to see Priest and Sabaton in Montana is the southern Alberta town of Vulcan. So thought I'd just stop for a quick break. Get a couple of shots. I feel an impulse to narrate all my videos. I should just film them and not say anything. Enjoy its Star Trek connection. Yeah, Vulcan. It's I need to get down there in the summer when the visitor centre's open, or even get down to the Star Trek celebration. Here, but I thought I'd stop for a few minutes. So this is the this is the kind of stuff you get. But they have an Enterprise. Welcome to Vulcan. Obviously, they still have an annual Star Trek convention. They used to have the Star Trek Museum, which then moved to Drumheller, which is where I went to it. I don't think it's here anymore. There you go. You can see it was actually a bit of cloud, but it was a beautiful day. Great day for travelling. It's probably from where I live to Great Falls, which was the ultimate destination that night. It was about 5 hours.
That's not too bad.
No, it was all right. Being the age I am, I have to stop a couple of times to, shake hands with the unemployed. Province of Alberta, County of Vulcan. Live long and prosper. Nice. All right. So, hey, Sumo, how you doing, mate?
I'm doing fantastic.
Good. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, great to be here. I gotta ask, who did you like better, Priest or Sabaton?
Oh, what a difficult question. I think the novelty of seeing Sabaton for the first time, I'd seen Priest a long time ago, was probably more made that slightly more the favorite part of the show, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, because that was actually.
Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say that this show was my because I got to see their opening U.S. tour the opening show for this tour happened coincidentally to be my first ever metal show, and I was so hyped to see both of them. And after Sabaton came on, I was just blown away by how just amazing they were.
They were. It was kind of the novelty of being able to see them, because I'd never seen Sabaton before, so it was fresh. Obviously I knew most of the songs, but it was very fresh seeing them live, and the crowd and I'm kind of jumping ahead here because I was going to talk about a couple of stops I made first, but the crowd were small, but they were equally enthusiastic for both acts, which was good. That's what 2 headliners really. So there was no kind of, oh, let's get the support act off kind of thing. Everybody knew their stuff as much as they knew Priest. So I enjoyed that.
That's always a good time at a show.
Yeah,
I've been to shows where both sides of that coin have happened.
But I've been seeing those pop up, especially now with just the entire metal scene. That it's expensive for these bands to come tour in the States, so a lot of times you get 2 headliners, and man, you see some great shows with this. Now, I got to see Uriah Heep and Saxon together, and
see,
so
I want to go to that one, but they've not played anywhere that I can get to yet on that tour. So
that was a really good show.
Yeah. So I really want to get to that, but it's the same with Priest and Sabaton. The reason I went to Billings in Montana, even though it's like a 9-hour drive, was just because there's nothing. They didn't play in Calgary or Edmonton, which I could have got to easily. So it was the next best bet, if you know what I mean. Hence the road trip. So yeah, it was. I mean, I enjoyed. Don't get me wrong. I enjoyed the preset very much indeed, and it's a great selection of songs that both acts played. So, tell you what we'll do. We'll skip to that then, and I'll come back to the travelogue later as you've joined us. So we'll get started. This is the arena. Oh, Pope's here. Hey, hello, mate.
Greetings.
Greetings to you. So I was in my travelogue phase, but I'll skip that for the actual talk about Priest and Sabaton. Sumo's joined us, and now you're here. So hope you're doing well, by the way.
Doing good. Just get out of work.
Good. No, I'm glad you made it. So this is the arena. It's First Interstate in Billings, your standard sort of smaller town. Well, small city barn. I have to say, one thing that wasn't great about it is the seats are crap. The seats were terrible. Like, it looked like they were falling apart. But conversely, the actual, unlike many of these barns, the sound was actually pretty good, which was nice. And where I was sitting, I deliberately sat at the back, or bought a ticket for the back. I could really, in the end, it wasn't full. I could have sat anywhere I wanted. I could have just moved, but I wanted to sit at the back because I got a full view of the stage from there. This is it. Just this is about an hour before the gig. Now Sabaton, you can see. Obviously, it's Priest's gig, headlining gig, so they didn't have the full stage set up, but they did have the tank.
Yeah.
And at one point, they did all put the gas masks on, and they came out with the old gas, as if it was poison gas. But, they do. I mean, yeah, like Joachim does. Joachim does that he dresses up with a full rig and sprays the gas everywhere. So there wasn't a lot of stuff that they were doing that they would have had in their own headlining set in terms of effects. But the backdrop and the tank were there. It's kind of neat.
Yeah, I was going to ask how are they as an opener, because I've only ever seen them as the headliner, so it's a little bit different stage show.
Well, I mean, obviously a much restricted stage show, but for me, as I was saying, the crowd were completely into Sabaton as much as they were Priest. It wasn't a full by any means. The arena maybe can hold about 8,000 to 10,000. I would say it was probably half full. So a lot of empty seats in the top layer and at the sides. On the floor seemed full, but the crowd might not have been the biggest crowd, but they were very enthusiastic, which is what you want, So They knew when Sabaton came on, everyone went nuts. So they really reacted to that. There was they appreciated it very much because it wasn't just like we're a support act. Everybody knew them, and everybody knew their stuff. And a lot of people I was talking to, you can see there's empty seats here and there, but a lot of people I was talking to were there specifically to see Sabaton. Which they're
that kind of band that can draw a crowd on their own, let alone when you put them with Judas Priest.
Yeah, well, I also think Priest has toured more often in the States than they have.
That's right. Yeah, I mean, there was guys there saying, "Well, I've seen Priest 6 times, but it's the first time I've seen Sabaton." So
true,
I hurt my back in the mosh, but there was no moshing going on. I may have got up and bopped a little bit at the back at the end. There was no moshing for me. Somebody was asked, did I wear hearing protection? No, I never use protection. You will. So I managed to capture a few images. I didn't, and I've got some video clips I'm going to play in a minute. I didn't want to spend the whole gig just filming things, you know?
Yeah.
Like a lot of people seem to do. I filmed specific bits and then put the phone away and just enjoyed it for what it was, which was a fantastic gig. And as I say, the sound was pretty good for this kind of barn. It wasn't echoey like you get in some of these places. It was really pretty good sound. Now, this is the funny bit. If you ever see them, anyone's seen them on this tour, Sumo, you saw this tour, didn't you?
Yeah.
So they do the bit with the pink guitar, the Hello Kitty.
He didn't
guitar.
do that.
Oh, well,
he didn't do that. My sister has a friend who lives in Charlotte, and so I told him, "Dude, you got to go see this concert. If you like history, you'll love Sabaton." So he came back and he showed. He's like, "Hey guys, look at this funny thing he did." Wait, I'm like, "Wait, he did the Hello Kitty, guitar. He didn't do that when I went." So,
what a shame.
I didn't see that.
So he did it here. He did it at this gig. Hey, Don Campbell, USMC just subscribed. Thank you, Don.
Hey, there we go.
Good to see you, man. Another jarhead, exactly.
I'll refrain from using my usual description.
No, you don't need to refrain.
The Pope knows what it is. I'm just being nice for once.
Now there was there was seating on the floor, but nobody sat. Everybody stood up. It's Ancient Dildo. Everyone stood up. I was in the seated area at the back because A, I'm old, and B, I like to be at the back because I'm short. If I'm on the floor and standing, I can't see anything because everyone's taller than me. So I like to be able to see. I could have wandered around to any part of the place. It wasn't full of hell. I didn't even see much security, which was weird. So, but yeah, the Hello Kitty piece is funny because they bring a guitar case on and. He takes it out of the case. He's like, "What the fuck is this? It's pink. It's Hello Kitty on it. This is not what I packed in Sweden." And the others go, "That's what we packed in Sweden." I do like it from the back. That's true. The ticket prices include geriatric care.
This is what makes Sabaton one of the best. Is they understand their fans' sense of humor because. For some reason, they have a lot of the weird anime fans, the waifus and old military uniforms kind of people.
Yeah.
And so they own up to that whole thing because I don't know if he did it when you went, but he did when I went. They had the returning guitarist, so they asked him, "Oh, since you're returning, you get to pick the song tonight, right?" And so he picked Swedish Pagans, which Joachim notoriously just hates, right? He hates that song with everything he's got. So it's a running joke when they're going to play that. He throws a fit on stage about having to sing that song. So it's just one of those running jokes they're so good with.
Yeah, well, I mean, is it Tommy Johansson you're talking about, or?
Yeah, Tommy.
I think it's Tommy.
Yeah, because they played Swedish Pagans, and I'm going to actually show that now. I've got this clip up separately on the site, but we'll take a quick look at it now. I'll get claimed, but there's no monetization on most of my streams. So let's. It's because I was at the end of the row and people kept coming in and out and I had to keep getting up. turn on my phone, but it's captured the sound pretty well, I thought. So that one was Swedish Pagans was the third in the set, and I had actually got slides of the set list on them. I'll go to those later. Find them. So I came across pretty well.
Yeah.
I have to say, it's definitely good sound quality at the venue.
Yeah, came across pretty well. That's Swedish Pagans. I did have the set lists captured. I can't find those bloody images now. See what happens when you postpone a show for a week. I had both set lists.
They had like one of the best set lists if you're a Sabaton fan ever, because like they sing anything you would want them to sing.
Well, exactly. It's here it is. I think I've got it here. Sabaton set. Let me show that. If we can see it, it's Apex Sabaton. I think this is the version I've got. So this includes they didn't play March to War was recorded. That was as they're walking on. Ghost Division, Last Stand, Swedish Pagans, The Red Baron, which got everybody going crazy. Bismarck, which was a highlight, it was absolutely brilliant. Stormtroopers, Carolus Rex, Resist and Bite, Attack of the Dead Men. It was Resist and Bite where they do the Hello Kitty guitar gag.
Yep.
They did Carolus Rex in Swedish, so sang it in Swedish. Attack of the Dead Men, they were all suited up with the gas masks. Primo Victoria, Soldier of Heaven, where they work in Dancing Queen for just a few lines, but because they introduce it by saying we're from Sweden, and you'll know us because of ABBA and IKEA. And then he's not wrong. And then To Hell and Back, and then the outro, Dead Soldiers Waltz. So it's an interesting when you see the set list like that, the mix of how they mix the albums up in it.
Yeah, they did a lot. They do a lot off of their earlier stuff, which I appreciate. Well,
that's right. Yeah, Primo Victoria, stuff like that. So, and at the end, they didn't do an encore, but they did stay on stage for about a minute, just waving at people, and the crowd were still going nuts, But obviously, they're sticking to a timeline, and they had to get ready for Priest to come on. So, no encore per se. And it's the same. I think it's pretty much the same set list as every other gig on the tour, but it's pretty good. Pretty good set list.
Yeah, it's a solid, cross section of what they do best.
Yeah. So I got a couple more. You can see the Hello Kitty guitar a bit better there. Yeah, that was. I
still love that. Joaquin became the singer basically because they needed one and they didn't have it, and so they picked him because he was their keyboard player.
Yeah,
and then they just never found a singer.
That's right. But you can see they did bring the mic stands with the guns.
Yep,
the rifles and the helmets. I didn't see a keyboard player. Keyboards were playing.
There isn't one.
No, that's right.
They do basically a recorded loop, and it's Joaquin that does all the keyboard work for them, but they don't do it live.
So there's a view from a different angle. And yeah, it was nice. It was fun. They were really good. Really enjoyed them. There he is going around with the smoke, the poison gas, supposedly. So I'll play another quick clip from this gig, if everybody's okay with that. This is clip. This is the Red Baron.
Would you mind singing with us for the next song? All right. Seeing as we're Swedish, though, we gotta keep it simple. Our vocabulary isn't that good. So all we're gonna sing is the word higher, okay? And we're gonna do it to the tune of the Red Baron.
Hang on. Just give me a second here. Start that again. Sorry about that.
It's flying higher in the sky, flying the past and it's flying high. Higher, when I go high, let your never die. The street is a little cheap, but the end of the fire is turning. Fire is clear, it's clear, never clear, but if the day's coming, then we burn it. And the race the flame, it's one of the down. All out and scream, don't you come together. The game to win, again the rules to die. Hated allies made the lies. But he's flying higher in the sky, flying fast and flying high. Higher, and I go die, let your never die. Alright my friends, warm-up is over. We're going to do it for real now. I'm gonna count to 4, and then we sing higher. We'll show you. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Higher. Yes. Everybody knows the groove now? You do it, everybody? 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Higher. That's pretty good. But you're Montana, you can do better. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Higher. Yes, now we're talking. No. Louder, all right? 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Higher. I love you guys. Higher, into the sky. Side of the class, ringing is higher, higher, higher. But I call it higher. Let you remember, higher. Higher.
Definitely a highlight of the night for sure.
Yeah,
that one absolutely highlight. Very enjoyable.
I love their attitude on stage too. They have such a fun vibe to them.
It was lighthearted. It was fun.
Sabaton is the most fun band I've seen because, like, I noticed the stark difference when I went. Like, Sabaton's on there, they're having fun, they're fooling around with the crowd. When Judas Priest goes up there, it's like they just they're all business, and like they just kick ass. Like if you could see how like the difference between Joachim and Halfred, night and day, but they both kicked so much ass.
Yeah, I think I'd have to agree with that. The Priest side of it, brilliant as it was all business. There was very little chat. Not a lot of nothing between songs. It was just song, next song, next song. There was a tiny little bit, but not much. Rob Halford did say some stuff towards the end, though. He starts to talk a bit more towards the end of the set, but a lot of it was very business-like. Excellent show, though. I mean, put on.
Brilliant. Oh yeah, I felt a little bit with the set list. Like I liked the set list a lot, but it felt a little too like okay, old song, new song, old song, new song. Yeah. Kind of felt a little unbalanced to me. Like they just kind of, for me, I don't know what they did with you, but for me, the Hellion was put right in the middle. The Hellion should be either in the beginning, you know what I mean?
That wasn't, yeah, they didn't do that in the one I was at there. The Hellion was the first song in the encore. So it's Hellion, Electric Eye, and then a couple of other songs. That was the encore. So they've been moving things around a bit.
Yeah, because for me, the encore was Hellbent for Leather and Living After Midnight.
Yep, those are the two standards.
So I got a little more to play for Sabaton. I only captured one other song. But they finished the set with To Hell and Back, which, as you said, hey, a bit of American military history now. So here's what that looked like. I didn't get all of it, unfortunately.
A song about American military history. To Hell and Back!
Had to freeze that bit because somebody wanted out of the row I was in and had to stand up. So it just completely threw me. which I thought was a pretty damn good rendition.
Yeah.
And it's good, obviously playing to the crowd, having an American military themed. Hey, Taylor Swift, greater than Disney, SW and MCU, and Doctor Who has gifted one Get the Flock Out membership. Thank you very much for doing that. I wonder who will get it. And indeed, Taylor Swift has now gifted themselves a membership by the looks of it. It's funny how that worked like that. So thank you for that. I guess I should play something just to,
Your slats.
just to thank you. But, so that was Sabaton. Pretty damn good. I can't wait to see them again, and this time on a full set of their own.
Yeah, I think I saw them for the first time live in like 2016, and pretty much every time they've been in my area since then, I've made an effort to go see them.
Yeah, so I'm definitely going to go next time. But what they mentioned at the gig was there's a movie coming out.
Yes.
So I'm definitely going to this. So the Tour to End All Tours movie by Sabaton, and it will be in cinemas in North America October 30th and 31st, and just luckily enough, the nearest cinema to me will be showing it in Calgary. So I'll be going to that. Filmed during their European tour in 2023. I think they may have put some clips of this, some of the footage online already for this, but let's watch the trailer and get ourselves taken down.
When you walk from the backstage and you walk towards the stage and you hear the noise of the audience building and building.
This is where I want to be right now.
I'm assuming you guys
this
can hear
what
this.
I'm meant to do.
Yeah.
Good evening, Amsterdam! We're filming the show tonight, okay? I love you guys.
Alrighty. Anyone getting chills?
I love it.
Oh yeah, that's going to be.
I always wanted to see them in Europe because the show we get over here is like always a pale imitation of what they're like in Europe.
There were no shots of IKEA sentient dildo. IKEA did get a mention at the gig I was at, but there were no shots. Sorry, Sumo, go ahead.
I was going to say, he was talking about seeing them in Europe. I think that's any metal band, as far as I'm concerned. The U.S. crowds, like, I've been in some okay ones, but maybe it's my area where I live in New England. Crowds are boring as it gets, like really dull.
Yeah. I think for the gig I was at, the size of the barn and the smaller crowd did cramp the style a little bit of the it did curtail the atmosphere a bit. I mean, everyone that was there was into it, particularly behind me, and eventually I ended up standing up and going to the back of the level I was at. Lots of people were standing watching and leaping about. You don't see those in the videos I took because they're behind me, but you got a great view from there. In fact, the bands could see you against the silhouetted light at the back of where all the concessions were. So they were constantly going like this and waving because they could see everyone sort of leaping about at the back. But otherwise, it's a cold kind of barn. You know, these sort of, I don't know what's normally used for. There are other gigs there, but just wasn't quite as atmospheric. I know what you mean. I think some North American crowds are a bit less exciting.
It's got to be an adjustment for the band too, because I mean, when they tour Europe, they're selling out 80,000 person soccer arenas.
Yeah.
Then you come over to the US, you're playing 2,000-3,000.
Yeah, you're supporting Priest and play. So you've not got your whole stage set up, and it's maybe like 3,000-4,000 people, 2,000-3,000 people.
2 to 3 is lucky, because I went to see Accepting KK's Priest just about a month ago. Only 500 people.
All right. What was the size of the?
500.
Oh, it was a 500 capacity.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
right.
that's what I was saying. It's a tiny ass venue, but that's what they can pack here. That's it.
But I also think, though, that if it's the right hall and that's the capacity that's full, you'll get a much better atmosphere than a bigger one that's half full.
Yeah, like I've seen Sabs twice at the Palladium in Worcester, and it's only about 2,000 people, but they pack it every time.
Yeah. I mean, I think back to the first time I saw the Scorpions in Wolverhampton Civic Hall, there could only have been about 500 people in that place, and it was one of the sweatiest, most exciting gigs I've ever been at. You know,
I think the most intense gig I've ever been at was Armored Satan Queensryche tour. I got to see that at a legendary place in Connecticut called Toad's Place. I don't know if you've heard of that. The Pope has. That's a big place in Connecticut to go see shows. That was the most intense crowd I've ever been in. But as far as that goes, nothing else really was intense. I think a lot of it is because, like, a lot of the guys who are going are older gentlemen. Not a lot of younger people go to those shows. So the older people are more reserved the way they use energy. They're more just banging their head and singing along rather than getting more active.
It's going to be different from a gig where it's all 20s, people in their teens and 20s that are moshing in the mosh pit or bouncing about hard, you know? It is different.
You say that, and yet when I saw Slayer on their farewell tour, there were guys your age in the pit going.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, in my 40s, I could still do that, but not now. It's not that I don't want to do it. I can't physically do it now. I got up at the back. I was standing at the back quite a bit and shuffling around. So that was Sabaton, and here's some of the images I had of Priest. So, you know, they had I quite liked the setup they had with the sort of 4 strips of a screen. I think it worked quite well. They had the big kind of, I don't know if you wouldn't call it a cross, whatever that image is, that shape this thing here at the top. That comes down at some point, and it's got lots of flashing lights and stuff on it.
When I went, that thing actually broke.
Oh,
like,
right.
Whoever hung it wrong, so it's kind of like lopsided when it came down.
Yeah.
And at a certain point, Rob looked up and he goes, "Oh, what the fuck is this now?" But that's what happened when I went.
Spinal Tap. I had a Spinal Tap moment too, because at the beginning of the Priest gig, when they're playing, they start playing over the speakers War Pigs as they're coming on, or before they come on, and then there's a backdrop with the Invincible Shield anthem on it, and they play this Invincible Shield anthem, and they come on behind the backdrop, and then at some point the backdrop falls into one lit thing, and they're supposed to pull it up. Well, it half fell, and so they started playing the band, and you still couldn't see them. There's this like half curtain hanging in front of them. Eventually, somebody figured out how to get it pulled up to the top, but it was a bit of a Spinal Tap moment. It didn't fall correctly, you know.
Didn't that happen to Iron Maiden with one of their Eddie statues? Like one of their pyros burned through the inflatable Eddie.
Yeah.
And like most of the hand deflated except the middle finger.
That's right. Even a thing as simple as a curtain falling doesn't work sometimes. You know, but yeah, it's pretty good.
I just had another one, because I just saw Yngwie Malmsteen a couple weeks ago. And at the end, he does this thing with this like really fancy guitar where he tries to have it sound like this old, like this like pristine acoustic like guitar.
Yeah.
The audio engineer didn't know how to make it sound the way he wanted to. He almost blew up on stage. Like I was watching with like my eyes wide open. I'm like, is he gonna have a moment? Is he gonna have a moment? So one of those funny things that just happened, the one that you go to, you know?
Yeah. There's always something. The best laid plans. Actually, I was a bit sorry afterwards. That I was chatting to one of my roadie buddies, Willie Fife. You might remember Willie.
Yep.
Had been on a few shows with us, Deep Purple, Rainbow, Whitesnake, Dio guy. And he said, "Oh, you should have let me know you were going to the gig because a lot of my buddies are working with Priest on that tour." If I'd known that, I would have been able to chat to them, or
Right.
who knows? I didn't mention it to him. I thought, well, I mean, it's you don't think of that, but he said, "Oh yeah, I got friends working that tour." So this was kind of the view I had from my seat, my seated area. Not a lot of atmosphere in the barn itself, but it still sounded good, Got a few close-ups.
And Richie's new V is just gorgeous with that electric blue.
Isn't that good? Yeah. Now I have to say, Rob Halford, I was a little bit trepidatious about how he would sound, because it's not like he's a bairn anymore. He's not a youngster, and being on tour for a long time might play havoc on his voice. And I've seen a few clips where he's been a bit off here and there. He was excellent on this night. Like, there was no problem. He was hitting everything. Absolutely no problem. So, that's not a bad setup. And then another thing that impressed me was the bass. Ian Hill's bass came across really well in this gig. Like, the bass playing sounded fantastic. So,
to circle back what you said about Halford's voice, I had the same concern you had, because I was watching almost like clips from almost every show that they were doing, and the one that made me nervous was Painkiller, because he sometimes sings it a little weird.
Yes.
When I went, I remember telling my friend who I went with, I'm like, I just hope they decide to skip Painkiller tonight. I'm like, he can't sing it. He can't sing it. After he sang it, both me and my friend looked at each other, and I think our jaws were like practically on the floor, because we were like, "Oh, holy shit! He can still sing this song."
Yes. Yeah.
So he blew me away.
I'm surprised Richie's willing to do Painkiller anymore, considering one time he did. He almost died.
Yeah, I'd be a bit PTSD about that then.
Still finished the solo though, which was one of the most metal things I've ever seen.
Where was his voice? Well, I'd say on the night, I'd say Rob was definitely a 9 out of 10 on this night. Painkiller, he sings some of them differently. I think a lot of these guys do when they change the key. So they tackle certain bits differently. But Painkiller, Sumo, as you said, when on this night he hit every note and didn't waver. They finished it strongly. So fair dues. Kudos to Rob Halford. He was brilliant on the night. He's obviously looking after the voice, which is good. This is one of my favorite snaps I took on the night. It's not bad considering the distance away I was. This one's a bit blurry, but I mean, it's Rob Halford. It's Priest. It was just, it's always going to be good. Special.
Right.
Yeah, it was very special. Indeed, a lot of affection in the crowd, So there's
at this point, you've got three generations of fans who've all grown up with Priest.
Well, there were certainly parents with their young kids. There was a lot of young parents that brought kids, but I suspect some of those were grandfathers' kids and their kids. Possibly. There's some. It's a pretty good light show they've got. I like the 4-screen thing at the back like that. I like that. Here's the cross coming down. It's not really a cross. It's more like a chalice.
Yeah, it's hard to explain.
Yeah, it's not. It's like a chalice that would hold 3 candles at the top or something.
But it's not quite a cross. It's not quite a menorah, but it's kind of a cross between both.
Yeah. That one didn't come out quite as well as I wanted. That's a good one now. That came out quite well. That one. No, there was no technical malfunctions on it though, unlike Sumo's experience. So and then obviously the motorbike. He's got to do that every time. He has to do it. The motorbike and the whip, hell-bent for leather. It's the grand old dame, the grand dame of metal. And then the priest will be back at the end. So I have got a couple of clips, so if you guys are okay with me just playing a couple of video clips too. Let's start with my favorite, but actually no, I'm going to I'll show the set list first before we do that. So just give me a second. I do have the set list. Judas Priest. So that's the set list. I had it on I had done both set lists on playlists, and then I burnt them to CD so I could play them in the car on the way down. It's easiest when you're driving just to stick a CD in as opposed to fiddling about with your phone.
They brought Rapid Fire back out of retirement. That's awesome.
Yeah. So you can see the mix of it. Mike, do you know what? I'll nominate a track that was my favorite on the night. It was actually Sinner. Sinner was my favorite of the night, I think, which was kind of in the middle of the set. But I mean, a lot of it's what you'd expect, but you can see the album mix. And Pope's rejoined. There you go. Sinner was my favorite on the night, but I actually really liked Crown of Horns. I thought that came across pretty well on the night. And then the obviously the encore. So the encore started with Hellion, and then Electric Eye, Hellbent for Leather, Living After Midnight. It was just nice. It was warm. It was a warm feeling.
Yeah, Living After Midnight when I went was one of the most electric endings because for a Connecticut crowd, they actually were singing along. The only time I had something that was on that magnitude, it's going to sound really stupid, but hear me out on this one, was when I went to see Weird Al Yankovic and he closes with Yoda.
All right.
That's the two loudest crowds I've heard actually cooperating and singing a song with the band for the encore.
Yeah. That's pretty cool.
It was electric.
Yeah, it's something about, Living After Midnight, so it's for me, it was a warm feeling when they played it. Everybody was just like, everyone was into it. It was nostalgia, but it was still fun to hear, Funnily enough, so Turbo Lover, I went for to shake hands with the unemployed during that. And then got another beer. But I mean, I could get just as good a view from the bar at the back as I could sitting in my seat. So.
My big disappointment with this set list, and I was really upset with it when I walked out, I wish they sang a little more off Defenders.
Yeah. Well, this is it. There was only one track.
I wish they at least had done Jawbreaker or like because when I went they did Love Bites, but like if they did Heads Are Gonna Roll, like there's a few things they could have played off that album that they should have.
Yeah, I think they went for possibly a more of a crowd pleasing set. You can see all the hits are there.
Although they could have done Jawbreaker with Sabaton, because both bands have done the song.
That's true. That would have been nice. But they did do
Saints in Hell on there too, because they haven't played that live in forever.
That was pretty good. Yeah, as I say, Sinner was my favorite. I think they really nailed it. It was beautiful. It was all great. I mean, they were very professional, great set. Everyone put a lot into it. Lots of posing on the guitars.
Yeah. And again, you get a good cross section of their entire career, because they have one from Sad Wings of Destiny all the way up to the new album.
Yeah, and that's why I wanted to show the kind of mix of album, how they structured that set, and the way they picked the tracks from each album. It wasn't a bad. It wasn't a bad set for that. They did mix it up quite well.
On one hand, I'm kind of surprised, and on the other, I'm kind of not that they didn't do anything off of Firepower on here.
Yeah, that's right. There was nothing, which is weird. However, let's play a little, a couple of clips as well from this. So this is the opener, Panic Attack. The curtain not falling, like the banner. So I think this makes a good opener, Panic Attack, yeah? It's quite a good set.
It's a very good opener.
Sorry, say again, mate?
I said it's a really good opener.
Yeah, it is. It works well as the opener. It's fast and there's a lot of bite to it. So that was Panic Attack. I did get a couple of others. Again, I didn't want to film everything because it was just you're there to see a gig, not to film the whole thing. But I wanted to get at least a couple of tracks. camera wanders occasionally. Anyway, it came out not bad, eh? It's not bad.
Yeah, the sound quality is fucking awesome for that.
Yeah, I used my Samsung Fold, which has got a full. It opens out, so you got a bigger screen, and it's. I think I find it easier to film stuff on that. You know, it's like a little tablet, really.
Yeah.
I didn't really get the. I mean, I should have tried to figure out the format in terms of width, because they all came out like this, but it was easier for you to see what you were recording on a Fold.
Yeah.
But the sound quality is pretty good, and you can hear the bass though. Ian Hill's bass, brilliant.
The thing that got me was how well they sound, like the band itself.
Oh yeah, slick, very very slick. Sounded great. Slick without being too polished. You know, it's still raw energy and metal, but.
Well, the best part is too is they're down KK Downing and Glenn Tipton.
Yeah, I know, that's right. It's really a completely different guitar lineup. Yeah, awesome though. No, they played great.
I think the thing that saves them with the guitar lineup is that Richie grew up a Priest fan and wanted to stay as close to the, original sound as he could get.
Yeah. No, I think you're right. They sounded great. That's as I was saying. I used this. This is my Samsung Fold, which folds up like that and goes like that, and it's got extremely good camera and stuff in it. So
yeah,
it's my one little concession to luxury. I every time I get my last phone cracked up, so I need a new one, and I usually try and get one that'll last me for years, and this one will last for years. So it's very handy to have, especially when you've got your reading eyesight isn't so good. The bigger screen, when you open it up, I can actually still see things. Trying to read it on a normal phone is like,
yeah.
You could wear glasses, I suppose. That might help. Oh, hang on. Was this from Ancient Dildo? Civilization was doomed once filming vertically became accepted. That's a good one. If I use enough force, my Nokia also folds.
That can't be true. Those old Nokia phones are the hardest substance known to man.
That's right, yeah. Made it of pure unobtainium. I've always loathed the vertical fall. Yeah, I need to figure out a better... there's lots of filming ratios on this thing. I just want to point it and press record, but I haven't really figured out the different ratios you can use, apart from the one that I use for shorts, which works pretty well. But so that was one track. I'm going to play a little more if you guys are okay. So this is the opening of Sinner. I only captured the opening, and then two or three people wanted to get up out of their seats, and it screwed the whole thing up. So I love this. This was my favorite of the night. I was just getting into it with the filming, and then I got interrupted, and I thought, so I didn't get the rest of it. That was definitely my highlight of the night, Sinner. It was amazing. Really good. Great intro. Just superb. Pure Priest. So, yeah, let's Let's have a little more of that. Okay, I didn't record a lot of video, but I did also get part of Painkiller. So let's have a bit of that. If nobody had an epileptic fit till now, they're going to have one at this song.
Right.
Like, oh my god.
Oh, I had a massive headache after the show.
Yeah, just the light show is louder than the music. It's a loud light show. Rob's doing a good job, you know. I mean, it's the hardest song to sing, one of them.
Yeah.
At his age.
Well, even when he was younger, this song was hard.
Yeah, it's an extremely difficult one. I mean, it's right at the top of his register, and it's a lot of screaming, and well, he's pretty good.
I've seen people react to the original, like, you know, studio recording.
Yeah.
I know what he's doing. He's streaking, but he's also kind of got like, the way he can like roll his tongue.
Indeed.
And through it all, you have Scott Travis being the absolute drum machine that he is.
Oh, absolutely. He was great. There you go. And that was the end of the main set, and then they come back on for the encore. Hellion, Electric Eye, Hellbent for Leather, and Living After Midnight, and everyone went home happy. It was one thing that did disappoint me slightly was Priest in the 80s. I mean, there's even a documentary about it, and it's on YouTube. They had the tailgate thing going out in the car park. People in there, drinking away and having parties. I was kind of thinking there might be a bit of that, but there wasn't really much of that going on. Maybe it's not legal anymore. I don't know.
It might not be. I don't know how Montana's laws work. But
a lot of the venues don't like you doing that.
Yeah. So there was no pre-gig tailgate partying going on, which is a shame.
Which back in the day, the venue complained they just throw a beer can at them.
Yeah.
I take that back. Actually, when I went, now there wasn't like people like grilling. I don't know if that's what people did back then, but there were people out of their cars blasting music and just drinking some beers together. That was going on when I went there.
Yeah, and the arena itself doesn't really have a lot of bars around it, or not within walking distance. So, I mean, I didn't really see much of Billings because I was really just there for the gig. It wasn't downtown. It's a little bit out of the downtown. So if you wanted to go to a bar, and I had to get a cab. So there wasn't a lot of... And it was a funny thing is I went to a sports bar, and of course there was a lot of Thursday night football coming up. So there was less of a gig drinking thing going on and more of a football drinking thing going on. So yeah. So I said to the barman, "Can't we get some hockey up here?" He was like, "No, this is a football bar." So
it was like it was like that when I went to see Queensryche in Armored Saint, because the venue is right in the middle of the city. So right next to it's a bar. So me and my friend are leaving, right? We're trying to beat the traffic and just go. All of a sudden you look behind you and you see everyone in the concert just shift off into the bar. And it's already like 10:30, 11 o'clock at night on a Saturday. Or no, Sunday, too.
Yeah, I kept the lid on it because lid on my drinking because I had to drive the next day and I didn't really want to. So after the gig, I just went back to the hotel. That wouldn't have been the case back in the day, or if someone had been there with me. But I thought, well, I'll just have a quiet night. I was there for the gig and I enjoyed it. I didn't see a lot of Billings. I did see a lot of the other towns I've stayed at overnight, but it's quite interesting if you've never been to Billings. When you drive into it, it's in this valley, but it's surrounded by these escarpments. It's really quite impressive when you drive down. You have to go way down in, and you can look out over the town. It's quite a deep set valley. So it's Montana had such great views, all over the place, such great landscape. And I would.
I've been to Montana, and it looks fake. How just gorgeous it is.
Yeah, and it's such different. I mean, I only saw part of Montana. I didn't go to I wasn't near Glacier Park or any of that stuff. It's more the sort of central part for east central Montana. But yeah, just these incredibly like the high plains landscapes where you could see for miles, but these mountains and buttes, so like Square Butte, stuff like that. But I went to places. So the first night I was there, drove down, crossed the border. I went to Great Falls, which isn't the nicest of towns, I have to say, having been there. But you do get these great views over the upper Missouri. So that part of it was nice. The town itself was a little bit kind of run down, I thought. But so some really nice views of the Missouri River. This is a there used to be a hydroelectric dam and a copper smelter here. So this is the kind of stuff I thought I'd make it a trip, not just go to the gig, do this stuff too. So really beautiful. You can see it was a beautiful day. I mean, just blue sky, you could see for miles. Oh, Sounds like someone's playing bells.
Nah, it was just my phone going off.
So really some quite nice stuff in up on the Missouri side. Also, it's got this amazing refinery there. Absolutely bloody enormous. I was just thinking the only thing that would have made it better if there was two Terminator robots fighting each other in it. That kind of landscape, you know. So there's got to be a Terminator in there somewhere trying to chase somebody. Also, everywhere I go, I've got a habit of visiting the veterans memorials. So this is the Montana Veterans Memorial. Really quite nice. Medal of Honor recipients. There was a lot of names in this one. A lot of names in this particular one. All the walls are covered with little plaques with each name. And also you look out over the river from it. So that was quite nice. And a really good bar I did go to it's the Cowboys Bar and Museum, which I've got clips of later, or pictures of later. Well, this is the view from near the hotel I was in. There's an old brewery. So it's quite nice. Lots of public art there. Old bridges. And then stuff here and in another town I stayed at, Fort Benton, they've got the Mullen Trail, John Mullan, or Mullen. A lot of monuments up to this guy, as well as Lewis and Clark. He founded the trail from here through to Idaho. Stuff like this. And then I found Pope's favourite store. It's funny. The only reason I took a picture of this, it was in a shop window in Great Falls, is because that was one of my favourite albums in the 70s, 10cc Deceptive Benz. That's the back of it. They were charging far too much for them, these albums. So this was a neat place in Great Falls. It's the O'Hare Inn. It's very retro inn, which itself is quite nice. But inside it's got this place called the Sip and Dip Lounge, and it's got mermaids. So it's all
60s thing.
Yeah, it's done up like a tiki bar, but girls actually swim in the pool with the mermaid tails on, which I thought was quite funny, really. It's a cute.
So do you tip the mermaid in sand dollars?
Yes, well, this is it. What do you tip them in? And I mean, you can't get into the pool. How do you tip them? But no, I actually just used ordinary.
You give me one of those sand dollars you find on the beach.
Yeah, one of those. No, I didn't have that. So it's quite a neat little bar. And Cindy was very nice, very pleasant behind the bar. She was lovely. This is an actual drink they make there. I can't remember the name of it, but it's something like a water dam buster or something. I don't know. It's quite. I didn't have that, by the way. She made that for somebody else. I was just drinking beer. But there's me going up to sticking some. You can go up and tip them by sticking money in the window. And she gave me the horns back as well, which is quite funny. So if you ever go to Great Falls, this is quite a nice bar to go to. That's the time at night. You can probably see it from Mars. So lit up. And the Cowboys bar I mentioned, this was pretty neat. That's got stuff like this. Hat worn by Tom Mix, who was a Western actor back in the day, silent movies. Christian Delorme, our good buddy, Christian's Vinyl Revival. Hey, good to see you, mate. Thank you for the $5 super chat, my friend. Pain-killing whiskey shot. Yes. I wasn't feeling any pain on the trip. That's since I got home. Let's play a little video to thank you for that.
What can you learn from books? Dad's DeVry, there's no books.
But yeah, this Cowboys bar was pretty neat. They actually had Calgary Stampede posters up, which was interesting. So a great little bar with all these exhibitions around it, and it's a museum as well. But that's a pretty good bar if you go to Great Falls. But you can see the kind of weather I was getting and the kind of landscapes. Just incredible.
Yeah, that part of the country is really, really scenic.
And the driving through these, and I tried to take some of the back roads, not the highways, not the major highways. Sometimes you had to because there was nothing else, just like single lane each way. You could go for like 20 miles and not see another car. It was incredible, absolutely beautiful. So I wanted just to flip forward to. So I went to Great Falls, stayed overnight, went to Billings, stayed overnight, and then the last day I went up to a place called Fort Benton. And really, it's another place well worth visiting. It's a little town, maybe about 1,500 people, old main street, but it was actually the innermost or topmost port in the Mississippi-Missouri River system. And it's a port, even though it's inland. So you could actually get on a boat here and go all the way down to New Orleans. And you're only a few miles from the Canadian border. It's quite incredible. And it was a real boom town in the late 1800s, early 1900s because of that. So this hotel was built in the 1800s that I stayed at, the Grand Union. Davina's got the gen in it. So, I mean, I would thoroughly recommend it if you're in Montana, go to Fort Benton. It's extremely nice, small but nice, beautiful, lots of history, absolutely wonderful history.
Small but nice. That's what you want every girl to tell you.
That's right. Small but beautifully put together. Yeah. It's never mind the quality, feel the width. So built in 1882. The hotel, and still in use today as a hotel, although I think they've occasionally painted it inside. It's got this old iron bridge, which used to be this part of the bridge, and this side used to swing open back in the day, and then they had a big flood, and it got flooded and swept away, so they replaced it. Most of the bridge is original, but they had to replace that part. And this grassy area here is the levee that the boats used to land at and then offload stuff. And they even had a couple of paddle steamers made it all the way up here. Which is quite incredible if you think about it. You can go from almost the Canadian border right down to the Gulf in one place, you know.
Well, that was a major trade route too, of taking stuff down the Mississippi and the Colorado down to New Orleans.
Well, this was a major port, all the furs from the fur trade. Whiskey was a big thing.
Surprise, whiskey being an American staple. Who knew?
So the levee, so it says here, whiskey, gold pan, salt, bacon, boots, and miners, and furs were another big thing too. And all the stuff would come down from Canada to here to be taken down. And they needed the Royal Canadian Mounties to occasionally keep order, because this was a wild town back in the day, apparently.
Well, Montana wouldn't become a state for another 60 years after that town got set up.
Yeah. Oh, it was. It's a lovely. Honestly, it's a beautiful little place. Really beautiful. But there's one of these boards where it describes. So this Palace Bar was pretty good. The old retro sign. That's nice. Nice bar. The old firehouse. A lot of cattle then started to be raised around here. I was chatting to a few current day ranchers, which was quite interesting. Guys that own ranches around here in the bars. The bridge was 1888. You can see it opens. It's a swing bridge. It used to open. That's the bit that got washed away in 1912, I think. In 1908, sorry. But you can still walk over it. Beautiful place. But there's a sign that I want to get to in these images, which I'll get there eventually. It tells you just how, there you go, the bloodiest block in the West. So it's a tough town. Walk in the center of the street and keep your mouth shut. Gunslingers walk the street. Few earned a reputation, but more earned eternity here for being shot in other fabled Western towns. Indians were fair game. Their corpses dumped into the river started a war and a massacre. Mose Solomon, saloon owner, eliminated 2 customers on the corner, and Lou Marshall added Hinchley and several others gunned down on this street, and they won't be missed. Poker was
awesome.
Poker was played with 6 guns on top of the tables. Females from the brothels were as tough as the men. Madame Mustache, I didn't meet her, but she sounds interesting, brandished Colts to halt the landing of a steamboat carrying smallpox. Saloons and houses stayed open all night. The block was lined with bar rooms, cat houses, and gambling dens. So lawless it had to be circled by a cavalry troop so a U.S. Marshal could serve warrants on 5 of its residents. I just love that. I absolutely love it.
So all the things you assume went down in the Old West, they all happened right in this town.
They happened right there in Montana. Yes. So
I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but I do have to bounce.
Okay, mate. No, thank you for being here, buddy. Really appreciate it.
Dude, thank you so much for having me.
Oh, no problem, mate. Anytime. Anything you want to plug or?
Yeah, I will just plug my channel real quick on Rumble and YouTube. It's Sumo Orange by the same thing. I upload when I can, not often, but I got to get back on that. So, hey, check me out. Have some fun. Have some laughs. And I'll talk to you guys soon.
Cheers, buddy. Thanks for being here.
Cheers. Oh, no, again, thank you. Yeah, thank you so much.
See you, mate.
Have a great one, dude.
See ya.
Right. So anyway, yes, Davina says established in 1846. It's the oldest continuously occupied settlement in Montana. I recommend, if you're in Montana, go to Fort Benton. It is beautiful. Not quite as violent as back in the day, but you know,
can't have everything.
Can't have everything, and it's got 2 or 3 really nice bars. But this is interesting. So this is a former governor of Montana, Thomas Francis Meeker. I can never pronounce that name. Meeker. Died in mysterious circumstances, apparently. A few yards from here, met his mysterious fate. Was he drowned? Was it an accident? But he was born in Ireland and an Irish revolutionary. Sentenced to death, sent to exile in Tasmania, but escaped and ended up in the US, fought in the Civil War for the Union, and then became the governor of Montana. Was relieved of his position and then fell or was pushed overboard from a steamer, and his body was never found. So it's just such a great story, you know.
Guy obviously knew how to make friends. That's
right. He's a really good politician. Knew how to make friends and influence people. So this Mullen Wagon Road was interesting too. It linked Fort Benton to the head of the Columbia, so you could actually get a boat all the way from the Gulf, all the way to Fort Benton, use the wagon trail road to the Columbia, and then go down to the Pacific from there. So quite incredible. And so this is also interesting. This is the Lewis and Clark Memorial, which is put up for the bicentennial. That lump of rock there is a piece of granite that weighs about 88 tons.
Damn.
And they moved it in there to put this beautiful Lewis and Clark statue on. And I was asking the guy behind the bar, in one of the bars, I said, a lot of statues have been getting pulled down and melted recently. He said, that'll never happen here.
I believe it.
I believe it. Yeah, I believe it. So no more there's no more bearded women and gun violence in Fort Benton. The town did go to shite. That's true. But this is a beautiful memorial. It's absolutely gorgeous. It was put in there for the bicentennial. And then there's the old Fort Benton, which was initially for the fur trade. It was built for the fur trade, and also had a lot to do with the Indian Wars at that time. This is an old cannon. Produced in 1864. Its sister cannon is at Gettysburg. I love this stuff. I love
one of
this
my old schools, Norwich University, has a similar thing where we have two old, just pre-Civil War artillery pieces that their two sisters are actually buried at Gettysburg with their crews.
Yeah. Incredible, mate. This is the kind of stuff I love to go and see. It was a great opportunity to go into the gig to see this stuff too. This is a Buffalo Robe fur press. So I wondered what it was until I saw the sign. I couldn't figure out what it was for. So this is an interesting fort because it's a reconstruction. There's only one part of it is original. So this is an exact replica of what it would have looked like back in the day. Pretty nice place.
When you look at how it's set up, it's almost like an 1800s version of a motel.
It is. And some of those are like, these are the quarters for the troops and so on, and it was used to protect, it was to do with the fur trade. Also, they traded with the Indians here, and there's a lot of the signs tell you about that stuff. There's the quarters that they lived in. Initially logs and then adobe, and this blockhouse is the only original building there. This one here. The rest is a reconstruction, but it's still pretty interesting,
And a lot of these forts were not meant to be really that permanent either. They were made to just grow up and keep there until it was no longer needed, and then tear them down and turn it into a town, essentially.
That's right. So beaver pelts, buffalo furs, and they traded with the Indians for furs. Their most coveted trade item was illegal whiskey, but also blankets, pots, firearms, and beads, and so on. The buffalo robe was the staple of the Fort Benton trade. Over 1 million were sent to St. Louis down the river.
Holy crap.
Yeah, incredible.
And $1 a hide back then was actually good money.
I know. This is the War Memorial in Fort Benton. As I say, I like to visit these. This is quite a neat one. This looks like a Sabaton mic stand.
Well, I mean, those are made to look like the Soldiers Memorial. Like when somebody was KIA overseas, this is exactly what we do. We take their rifle, put the bayonet on it, and stab it into a sandbag with their boots and helmet on it. Yeah,
this is a neat one. This was interesting. This you can see these plinths, and they're in a circle. It's actually a memorial or a monument to every U.S. naval ship that has a place name from Montana in it.
Yeah, including the one that they're picturing, which was never actually completed. We were building it, and then we realized we didn't need that.
Yeah, so it's really quite neat. It's a very interesting memorial to have, like all these different place names that had ships. But, so this was the Palace Bar I went to. Montana is full. I heard North Dakota is nice. I think that's the last picture I took. So yeah. So that was the trip, everybody. That was the road trip, and very good it was too. Great to see Priest again after God knows how many years. British Steel Tour, I think, was the first and only time I'd seen them. And Sabaton, great to see them. So, hey, there it was. So I think we'll wrap it up now because I need to get out of this sheet. Next week's show is going to be about this movie, Dark Star.
Ah, yes.
So we're doing Dark Star. Imp is convinced we've done it before.
We've talked about doing it. I don't think we have.
I don't think we have done it. Oh, Imp's gone anyway. He's left. So Dark Star next week. So we should have some fun with that one. Thank you, everybody, for being here, both over in Rumble, where Davina and Vince have been chatting away. Thanks for looking after that side of things, guys. Oh, he's back.
My connection's going horrible.
Yeah, so do you think we're living in a branching timeline and we really have done Dark Star before?
I could have sworn we did, but I could be wrong. It's known to happen.
It does happen sometimes, yeah. Not often. You're not wrong often, that's for sure. Yeah, thanks everyone in the chat for being here today. Thank you for those that have been modding. D-Bud, Davina, Sentient Dildo has a wrench. So Sentient Dildo's been modding too, I think. And anyone else who has been that I've forgotten to mention. But thanks everyone for joining the show. Christian super chatted, Taylor Swift, etc. Big long name. Taylor Swift's better than. Thank you for the membership you donated to yourself. Thanks everyone else that's been in the chat for your contribution today. I hope you enjoyed those clips and images from the gig. Thank you to Sumo Orange for joining on screen. And Pope, my friend, thank you to you. Have you got anything you want to plug?
Well, just my weekly show over on the Rumbles. We do a little radio show every Saturday night at 11 Eastern that I like to call Midnight Mass, where, I create a playlist during the week of stuff I'm listening to, newer stuff that I think deserves a spotlight, and then, occasional requests from the audience too. And we generally have a good time with it.
Yeah, it's a great show. I can recommend it, everybody. Absolutely brilliant show.
Unfortunately, it's on at the same time as Bourbon and Boarding, so I can't ever cross over.
I know. Who planned that?
Hey, I mean, I never said I was smart.
I think you're on later than we are, though, so that's why I can listen in sometimes. So, but yeah, thanks for being here, buddy. Yeah, check out Midnight Mass over in Rumble, everyone. It's awesome. And D-Bud's dropped a link there in the chat. And thank you, Imperitus, my friend. Anything you want to plug?
Keep an eye out for anything that might show up on Ascendant Arcade. We'll be doing some stuff this week, continuing playing Phasmophobia and probably a couple other things that fit the season. And then I'll be on an art podcast Friday night.
All right, cool. Yeah, me too. I should be there too later on. As for me, obviously, next Monday we're going to do Dark Star. Talk a little bit about thinking and talking bombs and the problems you have trying to teach philosophy from the start with a talking bomb. How do you convince it not to do what it's intended to do? It's a great movie. John Carpenter's first, in fact, I think. And later tonight, you'll see me on Comics Division, as usual, Monday Night Meltdown. Tomorrow, Toxic Tuesday on Nick's channel, 32 Flavors of Nick Visor. I think we're maybe doing Halloween. We're doing a horror movie. I can't remember which one. Probably Halloween. Could be Halloween. Or is it Scream? I think it did Scream last week. And then I'll be on other stuff during the week. So thank you again, everyone, for being here. Hope you had some fun, enjoyed the stuff. Until next time, keep on rocking. Very important. Keep on rocking.